So this is the difference, guys. This is the new one, this is the old one. The old one has the proper 90-degree angle. This new one has a 45-degree angle. And it's a very hard, brittle type of plastic. I am not at all sure that it can bend down. So I'm going to go ahead and reuse this old one. And now that this is off, this should be easier to get off. It's nice and simple once it's out. This is very important, guys. You see this little vacuum cap right here? We're going to need to pull that off of the old one and transfer that over to the new one. Now, this is only if you have an M54 engine. If you have an M52 TU, the earlier engine, you're going to have a vacuum line connected to this port that you'll need to pull off before you can actually pull the oil separator out of there. That vacuum line snakes up between cylinders 2 and 3, or I think 1 and 2 actually, and it connects to a hard line on the side of the fuel pressure regulator. Now you remember the oil drain line that goes from the oil separator down to the oil dipstick tube? This little metal thing is a little modification that I've made to this system. This is a one-way check valve. It lets oil drain back this way, but it won't let it get sucked back up this way. Now this is to combat a catastrophic failure that might happen with these systems. Remember how I was saying that the oil and the water condense, it turns into a little mayo substance. It tends to clog up the oil separator. There's a diaphragm in here, and that diaphragm could wear out over time, and if it deteriorates and it's no longer there, what's going to happen is you're going to get full vacuum applied to this system, and that full vacuum is going to suck the oil. It could suck the oil from the oil pan up through this tube and into the intake manifold, and you're just going to burn a lot of, you're going to create a lot of smoke out of your tailpipe, and it's like a big mess. So this is designed to combat that. If just in case that scenario happens, this will prevent oil from getting sucked up this way, but it'll let it drain back down. So I will put a link in the description where you can get one of these. Real simple. They cost a couple of bucks. So this is just a cheap Chinese one-way check valve. It's meant for fuel lines, and it looks a little kind of crusty on the inside. I probably won't be able to show you that. I installed this thing about a year ago, and I really had no data. I had no way to know if this thing would hold up or not, or what it would be like, but now it's been a year, so let's just see what's happened after about a year of stuff going through it. So it should let stuff go down through this way, but not let stuff go down through this way. You see the arrow? It's pointing one way. That's the way of the flow. So it was installed like this, and we expected it to not let things go up through this way. So if I spray something in here, oh, it's letting fuel go through. So I guess it's no good now. See if I spray it this way. It lets it go through really well. So at least there is something, it doesn't let it go through very fast, but it does let it go through. So it's probably kind of not doing the job that I expected it to anymore. So you know what? I think I'll leave it out now. But it was a good try. So one thing you want to do to make installation easier is you want to use some dielectric tune-up grease, which is also silicone paste. And you just want to, this is basically a rubber-safe lubricant. And you want to put some of this on the little rubber O-rings, which are right here. So I really need to go get a Q-tip, but I'm a little lazy. So I've got some of the lubricant on this O-ring here, and I've just been snapping it on and off a couple of times just to make sure it's just that much easier to do once it's underneath the intake manifold, because it does get pretty difficult down there. So step number one is we're going to go underneath the intake manifold, and we're going to install this tube onto the oil separator, and it goes on like this in this position. That's starting position. That's step number one. Step number two is we're going to turn it up into place like that. Now we don't want to bolt this to the intake manifold first, because we're not going to have enough room to swing this around. You need to kind of keep this loose so that you can sort of move them and get that turning action going on. So let's do step number 1. Man, just even getting this tube up into place is kind of a pain, but I've done it. So now we just need to put our oil separator in down like this. And we gotta make sure we slip this on. So we've just slipped it on like that. Here, let's do it this way. We need to sort of slip this on when this is more up into place back here. So I'll sort of need to do it where you guys can't see. So now what we want to do is turn it up. So of course the tricky part is getting it past past a couple of things. So that's it. We've sort of turned it up into place. See, now our oil separator is where it's going to live, which is right there. Let me show you the things you have to get it past. So the tricky part here was when I was turning this up, it had to just get past, this part in right here. So I just kind of fiddled with it and got it past that part. So now it's kind of up into place. Now we can just snap it forward, and that's it for that. All right, next we need to slip this tube down through here. Now you see there's this 45-degree end and there's this 90-degree end. The 90-degree end goes up here, so the 45 goes down and through. So you see that's gonna snap in right down there. And honestly, I do believe this is gonna be the trickiest part of doing this whole thing. We're going to need this to be up here. I'll slip this down. Okay, so now we've started it, and we have to just push it in. And we heard the snap there. So pretty tricky. I want to make sure that we got both snaps. Yeah, I only heard one snap. You got to hear those two snaps. The clips on either side. So you can see down there, we have that clipped on, and it's definitely helpful to not have this screwed in yet. So yeah, we're good there. I think I'm going to hold off before snapping this in because I think I want this thing to have just a little bit more room of movement. It's probably not really going to matter, but I just want to be able to snap this one in and make sure that it's snapped in just before I snap that top one in. So this is the drain tube. Remember, the routing goes underneath this black hose right here, and then it just sort of hangs out down there. So all we have to do is just kind of snap this on. Okay, let's see if we can do this. We gotta reach down here. We gotta twist the cable a little bit so that it snaps in, goes in correctly. Hey, there we go. We got both snaps. So that's it. Now we can go ahead and snap this one in. This one is a little difficult. Both snaps. So now we're gonna go ahead and snap this one in, and I think it's easier to hook this end in first because you really gotta pry it down on there. Let's hold it from this end. Make sure that we've got it on. Okay, I think we've got it on. So now we'll turn it into place, put it where it's supposed to be, and then we can snap it into place over here. I think it's snapped, and it just wasn't a very loud snap because, yeah, I'm tugging on it and it won't come off, so it's definitely on. So then we will plug this connector back into place like that. So you want to tighten these screws. Usually the throttle body gaskets don't need to be changed. They're always pretty supple, pliable. Okay, so I've got most of those bolts started by hand. So let's just tighten them on. Now this doesn't need to be super tight. In the past, I've told you what the torques were on this, and I do believe I made a mistake when giving the torque values. So I'm going to tell you, just don't use a torque wrench at all on this, okay? You don't need to use a torque wrench on bolts that are, you know, 7 foot-pounds or whatever it is. They're just, it's such a small torque. You just do that by hand. Just kind of do it until it's even on all of them. And, you know, it doesn't feel super crazy tight. Just make them tight. So I'm going to follow this up with a ratchet just to kind of get the feel of it, make sure they're good. Oh, that's good. And that one just needed a little bit. So the idle air control valve, this is where it plugs into. So we just want to get it. And you see how there's a little boss on the side of it. That's where it slips into. 2 bosses right there. So you just kind of want to make sure that it's slipped all the way in. So that's where it needs to be. Definitely don't over tighten those. They're, you know, torque screws are way better than Phillips screws, but they do wear out eventually. Okay, let's get our evap purge solenoid hooked back into place. And we want to get our line for it, which is here, which is this line. We're going to get that line put back into place as well. Get our stuff out of the way here. It wants to go underneath this, okay? And then it wants to hook to the purge solenoid. So we heard the little snap right there. Okay, now obviously we just need to reconnect a lot of our connectors. So what we're gonna do is, first, you can see how we've got our oil dipstick drain tube right here. I can see that it's going over some of these cables. I want to make sure that it's in a good place, because I don't want to have to like forcefully reroute it. So I'm just going to put this back into place and make sure that it's good. And see, it's not. You see that the way I put it, there's actually it's actually going over one of these cables right here. I don't like that. I'm going to move it so that it's underneath all electrical cables, okay? That way I have complete movement. Oh, my hand's trapped. See, now it's underneath that electrical cable. That way I have complete movement, and it's just totally free to connect to the dipstick tube. So that's what I wanted to make sure of. I'm going to reach down here and plug the throttle body back in. There we go. So that's plugged back in. Now you see how the throttle body cable is over top of this little hook right here. That is what's going to happen because it needs to slip behind there in order to get on that hook. I felt it slip onto that hook down there. Pretty sure. I can feel down there and make sure that that happens. Yeah, I can feel that that's happening. So I'm going to come up here. We'll plug in the idle air control cable. We're going to want this cable, which is going to be for this valve, for the idle air, or for the evap purge solenoid. That's going to connect right there. So we have 2 more cables right here. Remember, they look the same. This is where everybody gets confused. One of them has 1 prong on it. The other one has 2. Well, the way that you tell is, obviously, this thing has 2 prongs. And that's it. That's as hard as it is. So we take the one that has 2 prongs and we just sort of route it and we connect it in. And if you could see the other connector, it's that brown thing right there. One of them's, I think that's, honestly, I think that's the oil pressure gauge, and I think that's the oil temperature gauge, because it's just one wire. And up here, I think this is the oil pressure gauge, the one that I just plugged in. So down there, if you could look at that thing, if you felt the prongs on it, there would only be 1 prong on that brown connector. That's how you know that that's the connector for it, the one that has just the 1 prong on it. So let's see. You can see how you should do this first, but it's still possible. There. So that's all plugged in. So question, how do you know if you've plugged everything in? Well, you should have two plugs that are not plugged in. This one is the DISA valve. So that's gonna go right up here. And then this one is the mass airflow sensor, 3-wire connector. The rest of them should be plugged in. If you just want to follow these leads out from the electronics box down below here as well, and just make sure they're all plugged in. If you forget to plug in your idle air control valve or your throttle body, you're gonna know it. So I've gone ahead and started all these bolts by hand. Doesn't need to be super tight. So I've gone ahead and changed my O-ring. I got it from here. The O-ring size is actually 19.5 millimeter by 3 millimeter. This one comes with a 20 millimeter by 3 millimeter. This is the metric pack of O-rings from Harbor Freight. So I found that they work just fine. Okay, we're gonna slip the dipstick tube back into place. And you just have to be careful about this little hook right here getting hooked on some of the hoses. You might have to reach down and sort of get those hoses out of the way, particularly the fuel hose. Let's see if I can do it without having to do that. Probably not. Let me sort of reach down, make sure it's clear. I think it is. Down here, there's this hook. You have to slip that around. There we go. We got it. Now, you can't forget to connect this tube onto the dipstick tube. And honestly, to make that easier, I'm going to use some silicone paste. That way it just slips right on. Make sure that's inside there. Okay. Let's slip that on. Let's see if that's somewhat easy. Okay, got it. Okay, so now all I need to do is just bolt this thing in. Swivel socket. See if this will work. I think that works nicely. Okay. So guys, believe it or not, this is where we began our journey. We are now done. CCV system is installed. All you got to do is reinstall all the components. Again, that's in the common repair steps video. You took them out. I'm sure you know how to put them back in. If not, refer to the video. The video actually has the instructions for putting them back in the second half. Okay, we're all put back together. Now let's start her up and make sure we have no vacuum leaks. You'll know instantly if you have a vacuum leak because your engine will shake kind of crazy. So it's all good. So that is it, guys. That's how you change your CCV system the quick way. I suppose it is a little easier now that you know all the little tricks and such. So I hope that makes it easy for you. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'm the 50s Kid. Thanks a lot for watching.